All right. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys so much for
Good
tuning in for
morning.
another episode of LearnBiz The Podcast. Sandy B here, always with the lovely Lisa K. Crawford. Hey, Lisa. Good morning.
Hey, lovely Sandy B. How are you doing over there in France land?
I am doing pretty good. Eating a lot of baguettes and croissant and all that good stuff, but definitely slowing down a little bit and living life at a different pace. So glad to be
Well,
connected.
well, bon matin to you.
Bon matin. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Uh, All right, so today we're going to spend some time doing a bit of an entrepreneur news mix. As we all know, we see stories all the time of different things, good, bad, indifferent, motivational things, stressful things, things to really make you think about how to make improvements in your business. So we're going to kick it off with an interesting story. I've watched this TikToker slash, I mean, I've seen him on other of social media, but I've watched this social media influencer basically rise up the ranks, and he really had no words to say. Um, I mean, it's a really, really interesting storyline. We're going to talk about this article about a TikToker who apparently makes $750,000 per post.
Is that
Let
real?
that let that marinate for a moment. I asked myself, was it real at first? Until I started to see there were articles about it. And Lisa's gonna pull up an article that we're gonna look up right now, or that we're gonna look at right now. But $750,000 per post, and the man utters not one word. He's literally reacting facial expression wise to different things that are going on in social media. So the article says TikTok star Kabi Lame, at least Lam, or receives up to $750,000 per post, and his collaboration with Hugo Boss was priced at about $450,000 for a single post. So guys, when you think that you are unable to, I guess, make a mark when it comes to social media, honestly, sometimes you just have to choose your lane, and make a decision about what it is that you want to accomplish. And sometimes it's just being yourself, being who you are. Can sometimes be more of a payoff than you trying to fit in with whatever everybody else is doing. So let's take a look at this article, Lisa. Scroll up just a little bit, and let's
Um,
take a look at this guy.
for some reason, it's not the not able to move the up and down on that. Let's see here. Let me. Should I change the layout?
No, you just have to be in the other window.
Okay.
Good
Alrighty.
morning, Rigo. Thank you so much for tuning in. We always appreciate your feedback and your support in this conversation about different entrepreneurs. Thank you so much, Rigo.
Good morning, Rigo.
All right, so this is the TikTok star. You may have seen him in different posts where he's literally reacting with his facial expressions, his body gestures. He really doesn't do too much, but he definitely has struck up an observation from different organizations and businesses. So it says that he has revealed that he makes as much as $750,000 per TikTok post. In a Fortune interview with, I think his name is pronounced Lame, I'm not sure, published on Wednesday, social media personality disclosed he's on track to make about 10 million by the end of 2022. That's crazy.
Wow.
So along with his TikTok, the platform most followed star also has amassed a stream of income through brand deals. The 22-year-old rakes in about $400,000 per collaboration clip, and his much publicized collab with Hugo Boss earned the star $450,000 after posting about it online. Furthermore, he renewed a contract with an unspecified major Hollywood studio for $750,000 for a lone post on TikTok. I don't know. What do you think about that, guys?
Wow. That's pretty amazing, right?
I mean,
Um,
it definitely is. I don't know how many of you have checked out some of his TikTok videos, but when you get a chance, definitely check that out. I'll try to make sure that we have his information in the description so that you can learn more about him. But this guy, if you could see some of these videos, I mean, he's not really doing anything major. He's literally just reacting to different things that are going on, not only in the world, but on social media.
it's pretty amazing. You know, that it to me, like, unless you know someone and you can feel them, touch them, it just makes you wonder, like, is this real or is this Memorex? But I believe it. I totally believe it. I mean, that space is fabulous if you know how to blow up. And apparently there are, you know, proven tried ways that people use to get to maximize the not YouTube, but the Instagram space, the TikTok space. You know, a lot of people, they know how to use it well. I see that. So hey.
Yeah, that's a definite. And there's just so many different ways that you can have an impact in the social media space. Many times it's really just thinking about what it is that you want to get across and just leaning in on that and not trying to replicate what everybody else is doing, but instead creating your own lane. All right, so Lisa's going to prep us up with this next article, but just wanted to touch on something. As you know, I've been looking at some things in the news about different things when it comes to business. One of the major things that I keep seeing is stories about, millennials or those of the current generation who are basically tapping out of the workforce in terms of the traditional sense. Many times growing up, we always knew that you just go to work, you work hard, and that's pretty much it. But you're starting to see a lot of folks in the current day basically rejecting old ideas about how to work and what it means to be an employee and maintaining your rights and your individuality as an employee. And also rejecting certain notions of, discrimination and prejudice and stereotypes in the workplace. So I think those are things that are really rising in our community, and we really have to think about that as business owners in how we react to the behaviors of the newer generations. But here's something that I thought was an interesting article: 3 factors to consider before exiting your startup. Many times we hear stories about how, new businesses will always fail within the first 3 years, and we hear about the failure statistics more so than we hear about successes. And sometimes people, even when they are successful in their business, once they get a little level of success, they're very ready to basically be bought out of their business idea. And so this article from Entrepreneur basically gives you some key elements to consider before making the decision to exit your own startup. So a couple of things that the art points to: it says, when I was approached by Microsoft to acquire my company as a young entrepreneur in my 20s, I leaped at the opportunity, and it's like, who wouldn't, right? But to give a little, like, a background, a college friend and I had become interested in certain facets of cybersecurity and took it upon ourselves to develop anti-spam software. We swiftly followed it by spyware software. This was before the machine learning technology was around, but big data was already a buzzword. And we successfully launched Giant Software, and our company quickly grew exponentially. And, think about this: you start something and the expectation is for you to have some success. But then what happens when you get that success? Do you jump at the opportunity to sell your business idea? Do you maintain and continue pushing forward on your business idea? So one point that this article points to is, it says, the grass isn't always greener. Everyone has 20/20 vision. In hindsight, looking back, there's an argument to be made that I should have held out for longer and not sold my business quite so soon. However, not necessarily for the reasons you might think. The time immediately after the acquisition was exhilarating. We moved to new offices in a new part of the country. hired hundreds of new people for my team, and made use of resources that we never had before. It was truly exciting, and I felt like I was able to, he just felt like he was able to do everything that maybe he before didn't think about. However, boredom eventually set in. We went from startup mode to corporate mode. And that's where I want to kind of stay with that. It's, we think to ourselves, all right, we made it, we accomplished the goal that we wanted to accomplish. And then it's like somebody comes along and says, hey, I'm going to give you some money for your idea. But we don't think about the fact that the reason we came up with the idea was for us to live out our idea.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for somebody else to just come in and take over what we created as something that we wanted to do. And so just picture this, something that you nurtured and you built yourself, and then now you're kind of pushed to the side to deal with the paper pushing and, the corporate decision making, and you're no longer able to kind of live out the essence of that idea. Like, what do you think about that, Lisa?
I think it's very interesting. I think it happens a lot to people in business. I think what happens is you start off with that passion that this is what I want to do. And
Right.
someone offers you money and says, I'll just buy the whole thing from you. And you then
Right.
have a decision to make. It's not something you can just ignore if the price is right, right?
Right.
And so I think that's what happens. And then when people let go of that thing that really gives them joy, they might have money, you may have opportunity to do a lot of other things, but you just gave up that thing.
Yeah.
So what are you in it for? Are you
Yeah.
in it for the joy of the work and how it makes you feel to be in that space and contribute and help others? Or are you mainly in it to get that dollar bill? And you have to make that decision.
Yeah, it's very important that we think about what our intentions are when we go into business. Is it just about the money?
Yeah.
Is it about fame or attention? Is it about notoriety? Is it about leaving a legacy? There's so many reasons why people start in business. And if you aren't able to keep at heart, the idea of why you came in to be, then, you kind of can find yourself lost and in a mix of, this is not really what I wanted for my business.
So I wonder if you have to ask yourself, why did I come into this space in the first place? And maybe it's something you have to keep asking yourself as you're presented with different things that may sway you one way or the other. You
Right.
have to make the decision, why am I here? And
Facts.
do I still want to be, do I feel the way I felt when I first came into this space? Do I still want to be here just as passionately as the first time? And I
True.
guess it's probably one of those things that your answers can change.
True.
Maybe you got out of it what you wanted up to a certain point in time in that business, and you're ready to let that part go so that you can move to another level, because we do change as
That's true.
human beings. That's very interesting. But this guy, he felt like he gave up the goods a little too soon.
Yeah, I mean, it was an exhilarating ride, to make it to get that acquisition done, but then it was like, well, what do I do now? Like, I'm not where I thought I'd be. So we have probably one more story, and as I go into the in between time, Lisa, I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about interest rates before we did our closeout because we got about a minute left.
Okay. Yeah. So well, I guess we'll go to the next story. And so while I'm queuing it up, I'll talk about it. Everyone knows that interest rates are rising, right? The latest projection I heard is that the feds are going to raise interest rates by a whole another point, right?
Sheesh.
So that means that if you're borrowing money to buy a home and your interest rate has been 6%, knowing that it's come from the high twos and threes, not too long ago, it could be like 7% in a minute to borrow money. And the deal with that, Sandy, is that means it's costing more to borrow money. Now, what's also happening? There are people out there with debt right now. They have
Yeah.
credit card debt. They have all kind of business debt, car debt, you name it. all of a sudden it's costing you more money to hold that debt, right? So
Right.
if your interest for the month has been $100 on all your debt, now it's probably 150. I'm just throwing out a number just to show
Right.
that you're paying more for that same amount of debt. So that tells me that the best thing that we can do as consumers out here or business folks with debt is to get rid of the debt. Because it looks like the interest rates are going to be high for a minute,
Right.
because inflation is so high. And the whole idea is to try to drive down prices, right? So people
Right.
stop buying because prices are too high. Eventually, these manufacturers and producers are going to have to lower their prices so that they can find that happy medium where the buyer can buy and the seller can sell and it all works out. But right now, we're not there. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because we definitely have to consider budgetary issues and things like that when interest rates rise. It might even change your business model for the next year, what you plan to do, depending on how much debt you're holding.
Absolute. Good morning, Doug. Thank you so much for tuning in. We always appreciate you tuning on to
Yes,
LearnBiz The Podcast. Thank you, Doug.
absolutely. Good morning. So, Sandy, we have one more article, and so I'm going to do my best to share that. Give me just a
Awesome.
sec. So we're going to be talking about, is this human composting?
No, I think this was the Cardi B article, I think.
Oh, wait, let's make sure I got the right. Now that would be, now you guys know I wasn't trying to be funny when I said human composting related to Cardi B,
So I
but
can queue up the Cardi B article. So I
okay,
know Cardi B just came out of going to court for something that happened in 2018. There was an altercation that took place. And the reason I wanted to bring up this conversation was, many times, we reach the pillars of our success. We attain goals that we probably, were dreaming about and wishing about and hoping for. And in the process, life is happening and we sometimes don't think that things will come back, but we always have to remember that no matter what levels that we attain success-wise, there's always whatever our actions were and the consequences of those actions. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, it's not even about that. It's more so look at how that can potentially impact your life. Now, in the case of Cardi B, I mean, I think the sentence was something like 15 days of um, community service. Here goes Cardi looking fly, got the nails to the nines, looking like, all right, 15 days, let's do this. I mean, you're not going to stop what I'm trying to do. She might make a song out of it. Who knows?
right.
But just thinking about celebrity and what it can do to your life and what things can come up. Celebrities are a great target when things happen because what we don't realize is, the more money that you make, the more opportunities that you have, there's always going to be somebody that's going to come into your midst. And sometimes we really have to think twice before we get involved in some of these altercations and issues and problems. And even if it's in the wrong, you already know the media loves to drag celebrities. They love it.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
so,
Little slap on the wrist for Cardi B right there. Just a little baby slap, just a little tiny little baby slap for Cardi B. But
yeah, Cardi's gone through some interesting experiences and done some interesting things in her life. So, I'm pretty sure this 15 days ain't gonna be anything that she's gonna really blink about. And as I said, she might make a song out of that sucker. And next, her next song, she's gonna be in some community service vest, doing some pickups on the side of the road or something. Who knows? I don't know.
I'm telling you that that's part of branding. What can I say? But I guess she's a real person. She
Yeah,
can get into a fight in public, I guess, just like anybody else, and get caught up in the
trust.
moment, just like anybody else. But the thing is, she probably won't be treated like everybody else.
Facts. So hey, just think a little bit, guys. Sometimes we get involved in things and we really have to think a little bit more, especially as we're trying to rise in our path to success. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation. Let me see what Rigo has to say here. He says, wow, that's the best marketing tool to drive people to his site, as long as you have content that catches their ears and eyes, also music. I think he might be talking about
The TikTok star.
the TikTok star that makes $750,000 at this point per post. At least that was, the push to read that article.
That's
But in
KB
essence,
Lames, right?
yeah,
KB
and
Lames.
yeah, check him out on TikTok. If I'm not mistaken, I see a lot of his stuff on Instagram because I think people typically will repost. But just an example of what you can do if you really just put your mind to entertain in the social media space. So we're not going to keep you guys for too long. We tried to decide that we're going to do some more short clips in the mornings. But thank you guys so much. I'm glad I was able to tune in. Thank God for these internet streets.
Yes. Well,
So
you definitely have a croissant du beurre for me today and a café au lait con something avec, not con, avec
Lord have
something else.
mercy.
That's all I can say. But I would be over there just definitely suffering. But I'd be trying to speak the language if I was there.
Well, I'm gonna give you a bonjour and merci because I'm about to go eat my little croissant because my cousin just brought some. So thank you so much.
Right. Have a wonderful day, Sandy.
Bye, guys. Have a
Au
great one.
revoir. Bye, guys.